U.S. President Donald Trump has recently articulated his doubts about the likelihood of achieving a trade agreement with Canada, setting a firm deadline of August 1st for negotiations to take place. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. In remarks made to reporters just prior to embarking on a trip to Scotland, Trump stated, "We haven't really had a lot of luck with Canada." This comment reflects his belief that future interactions with the Canadian government might result in a straightforward tariff imposition rather than a more collaborative negotiating process aimed at reaching a mutually beneficial deal that could satisfy both parties. These remarks come on the heels of a statement from Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who emphasized that Canada will not accept a bad deal and intends to avoid rushing into an agreement that does not meet its standards or expectations. This assertive stance illustrates Canada's commitment to securing a fair deal, reinforcing the notion that it will not be pressured into accepting unfavorable terms simply to meet a deadline. Canada is one of several countries facing a deadline imposed by Trump as part of his broader and strategic approach to global tariffs and his ongoing push to renegotiate trade agreements with various international partners across the globe. To underline the urgency of the situation, Trump indicated that U.S. importers purchasing goods from Canada would face a hefty 35% tax if no agreement is finalized before the August 1st deadline. However, it is important to note that this tax will not apply to products that fall under the existing North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, which has historically governed trade relations among the three countries. This aspect adds a layer of complexity to the negotiations, as it informs both sides about what is at stake and what is exempt under current trade agreements. In addition to the potential tariffs on future imports from Canada, Trump has already enforced a significant 25% tariff on certain Canadian goods, as well as a 50% tariff on aluminum and steel imports. Furthermore, he has imposed a 25% tariff on all cars and trucks not manufactured in the United States. The president argues that these measures are intended to bolster American manufacturing and safeguard domestic jobs, which he has consistently highlighted as a core objective of his administration's trade policies. He believes that such tariffs will not only protect American industries, but also encourage consumers to buy domestically produced goods, thereby stimulating the local economy. Critics of Trump's approach, however, warned that these tariffs could disrupt the global economy and lead to higher prices for American consumers. Canada, which exports approximately 3/4 of its products to the United States, has a highly integrated auto industry with its neighbor, making the implications of these tariffs particularly severe and potentially damaging for both economies. The interconnectedness of the U.S. and Canadian economies means that tariffs could result in retaliatory measures, further complicating trade relations and potentially leading to a trade war that could have far-reaching consequences. Since Prime Minister Carney took office in May, the two nations have been engaged in extensive discussions regarding trade and security issues. Recently, Trump expressed a measure of optimism about the ongoing negotiations, stating in a July 15th interview with the BBC that he believed a deal could indeed be reached. "I think it's going to work out very well," he asserted, reflecting his characteristic confidence in his ability to negotiate favorable terms. This optimism stands in contrast to the more cautious tone adopted by Canadian officials, who appear to be taking a more measured approach to the negotiations. However, Canadian officials have tempered this optimism with a more cautious outlook. Following a 2-day visit to Washington, Intergovernmental Affairs Minister Dominic LeBlanc remarked that negotiators still have a lot of work ahead of them. He described the discussions as productive and cordial, but stressed that Canada is committed to taking the necessary time to secure the best possible deal for its interests. This commitment to thoroughness indicates that Canada is not willing to compromise on critical issues merely to meet an arbitrary deadline, reflecting a principled stance in negotiations. In the meantime, Trump has been proactive in announcing trade agreements with other nations, including Japan. In this particular case, he indicated that Japan will see a reduced tariff rate of 15% in exchange for a substantial investment of $550 billion for £109 billion in the United States. This move highlights Trump's ongoing efforts to reshape international trade relations while navigating the complex and often contentious negotiations with key partners like Canada. It also illustrates his strategy of using trade agreements to leverage investments that could benefit the U.S. economy significantly. As the August deadline approaches, the stakes remain high for both countries. The outcome of these negotiations will have significant implications for the future of trade relations in North America and beyond. The interplay of tariffs, negotiations, and international relations continues to evolve, underscoring the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for both the U.S. and Canada in the realm of global trade. The resolution of these trade issues will not only affect the economies of both nations, but also shape the broader landscape of international commerce in the years to come. With various factors at play, including political pressures, economic conditions, and public sentiment, the situation remains fluid. Both Trump and Carney will have to navigate these complexities carefully to achieve outcomes that are beneficial for their respective countries. As they approach the August deadline, the world will be watching closely to see how this high-stakes negotiation unfolds and what it will mean for future trade dynamics in North America and globally. The potential fallout from these trade negotiations is significant. For example, if tariffs remain in place or increase, Canadian industries could suffer, leading to job losses and economic downturns. Conversely, U.S. consumers may face higher prices for goods they import from Canada, which could affect their purchasing power and overall economic stability. Therefore, both nations have a vested interest in finding a resolution that is equitable and sustainable. In conclusion, the ongoing trade negotiations between the United States and Canada serve as a crucial battleground for the future of North American trade relations. The upcoming deadline will likely serve as a pivotal moment that could redefine not only the economic landscape for both countries, but also their diplomatic relationships moving forward. As both sides engage in dialogue, it remains to be seen whether they can find common ground and forge a deal that benefits their respective economies while maintaining a harmonious trading relationship. The world will continue to observe closely, as the outcome could set precedent.